What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be making my first video talking about the newest meta team that I think is going to be the next most common team that you're going to be seeing in PvP for quite some time. I'm going to go over how it works, and I'm going to show you how to play it, and then I'm going to go over potential counters for it. So this new team is going to be around Prince Sigurd. So the introduction of Sigurd ends up being pretty significant to the Assault Mode Meliodas team. So let me show you what I mean. So if we take a look at his unique, so at the beginning of the ally's turn, for every enemy affected by stat decrease effects, applies one effect on allies which increases attack by 10% for 2 turns up to 3 times. So that means you can get a plus 30 attack bonus just by having debuffs on the enemy. In addition, the hero is also of the demon race and is affected by uniques and commandments. So now he has to be in battle for this. So this means that your front 3 for the new Assault Meliodas team are going to be Prince Sigurd, obviously Assault Meliodas. The reason why Prince Sigurd is important to have his unique unlocked is because that's what makes him a demon. And obviously with Meliodas' unique, if all allies in battle are demons or those with commandments. So obviously Sigurd doesn't have a commandment, but he is counted as a dual race human and demon, which is pretty effective. So that increases Assault Mode Meliodas' stats by 5% and decreases defense-related stats of all enemies by 15% for 2 turns when allies take damage. So if they attack you because of Meliodas, they're going to lose, they're going to debuff, right? Now you're probably thinking, okay, well, that's simple, right? The solution to Assault Meliodas teams is simply not attack. You just want to stack up your ultimate. But if they do attack, if they don't play correctly, then there's Sigurd's bonus as well. So not only are they getting debuffed by Assault Meliodas, but then Sigurd is then buffing your team's attack by 10% for 2 turns. So now, let's go over the third piece of this. The third piece, and this is going to be your front 3, is going to be Chandler. The reason being, applies an effect which decreases all stats by 7% on enemies who use skills in PvP for 1 turn. So now, this goes beyond that, right? So the big answer, again, to Assault Mode teams is you go ulti rush, right? Or you have characters that use stances, or heals, or buffs, or something that is a skill that does not directly attack, right? Because that counters Assault Mode's unique. But with Chandler's unique, now they can't use any skills or they'll be debuffed. If they use a skill that attacks, they'll be debuffed and double debuffed. So debuffed by Assault Mode and debuffed by Chandler. And then when that happens, your team gets buffed by Sigurd. Well, here's where it gets even more juicy. So now let's take a look at Executioner Zeldris. So his unique increases the ally's basic stats for 2% for every debuff applied on all enemies. So now that's up to a potential of 20 because you can get 10 times. I don't think you're realistically going to get that 20 very often, but again, that's an increased buff. And by him, this is allowed to happen. If we look here, active for all content and active even in the sub slot, which makes him your valuable sub unit. And then let's look at his commandment. This only applies when he's into battle, but again, if a critical strike occurs from skill use, decreases crit chance and crit damage of the target by 10% each. So now that counts as a debuff as well. So even if one of your units were to fall and Zeldris comes in, you're still able to apply debuffs. So you wouldn't have to really worry about that. Now that's a little bit more conditional, which is why he's the sub, because really what you're looking for is his unique, not his actual commandment itself. So that, in my opinion, is going to be one of the top PvP teams to try and beat, because I mean, it's just buffs and debuffs from passive doing nothing, right? You don't have to actually take action for that to happen. You just kind of sit there. Couple that with Chandler's ability. His debuff blocks all skill effects, including those of ultimate moves, for 1 turn. Now that does exclude stance and recovery skills, But if they are acting, you can reduce some of that as well, some of the active effects. Now, I'm going to test it out, and we're going to see how well this actually works. So here we have almost a mirror matchup, right? So what we're going to be doing is not trying to attack at all, which is obnoxious to deal with. But because they don't have a Chandler, I can actually use Chandler's abilities without worrying about it too much. But we're still going to try and rush Assault Meliodas. But we are going to put that counter in the taunt up just in case they're stupid enough to try and attack me. I don't think they will, but hey, you never know. So let's see what happens here. Yeah, so by using that ability, he actually debuffed himself. What a doofus. We're going to move that, move this, move that. So now we have Assault Mode's ultimate. Let's see what happens here. Even if he acts, he's going to debuff because of Chandler. I don't think people realize that. Like, Chandler hits like a mofo. And that was really stupid. Like, yes, he stunned me, but now I get thick attack bonuses. So let's see. I could throw a debuff on there. Honestly, I'm going to Chandler stance. I'm going to move that over. And I'm going to swap this here. And then that way, start building up ultimate gauges. Like, yeah, he's going to hit me with the ultimate move of a level 75 Droll. Yeah, that's really going to do something to me. And now I've just stacked even more debuffs and hit him with a full counter. Just the number of white text going around is absolutely insane. So now we're going to Assault Mode. We are going to Chandler. And then just in case they live, we'll throw one of those out. I don't think he should live here. He should be dead. My ult levels, though, aren't too high on Meliodas. Yeah, I think Meliodas is only level 1 ult. Sad to say. My Chandler, I think, is either 3 or 4. Yeah, so I knew that he was going to do some serious damage there. And then, bop. So, yeah. And then that causes the forfeit automatically. So you want to make sure that when you are using Assault Mode Meliodas, that before you add your additional attacks, if you can ult first, because that doubles all the stacks that are already on you. So let me go over that real quick. So here we have so increase basic stats by 50% for 3 turns, and then inflicts bonus. Yeah, so all your basic stats shoot up. So you're giving yourself 3 buffs right there. So that's your basic stats, your attack, defense, HP. So you're giving yourself those buffs there, and then because you are adding 3 buffs on top of whatever buffs you have, that's going to increase your damage exponentially. And then when you do a follow-up attack, because you have those increased skills, I saved this because the amplified damage is based on the number of buffs on myself. So I want to make sure that I ult first, get those extra buffs, because even if they're smart and they don't attack you at all, you can still, at bare minimum, give yourself 3 buffs. And with those 3 buffs, that's going to be 30% per active buff. So we're talking about a 90% increase in your damage dealt on this ability at rank 1. Now, it does go up, so we're talking at 180. So you're getting a tier 2 card for free. That's pretty legit. Like, the damage difference is 180 to 270, which is a difference of 90. So right there, you're already dealing silver card damage just because you used your ult first. So that's just a small mechanical thing that I used there that was pretty helpful. Chandler's ult is level 3, that's right. So the charge damage ignores the defense, which is what allowed me to punch through the Droll with relative ease. So yeah, even though my Meliodas didn't blow them up, it didn't really matter. They got increase in their damage reduction, which is why I saved Chandler for second, because once their defense goes up, it doesn't matter because he's disregarding their defense. So you use Meliodas first. If they survive, yes, the stats go up. It's irrelevant because Chandler can just drop the bomb. So the goal with that team is rush 2 ultis as quick as possible. I personally, because Chandler's my higher level ultimate, I'm going to go with that. With Sigurd, it's single target, so I prefer AoE ults. I'm a nerd like that. I just think it's more fun to wipe their whole team at once. And as you can see there, once I was able to do that, that was a pretty quick forfeit. I mean, that key of holding the sword ability from Meliodas, the dark sword, if I hadn't held that, and if I hadn't used that, then his Meliodas probably would have survived, used the divine cuts, healed himself all the way back up, and then ulted. And that probably could have killed me right back. So it's about making sure you understand how to effectively place your damage, build your damage, and stack your damage with this team. So yeah, that's a basic run on this team. If you're going to counter it, what you're going to want to do is have Purgatory Bond. So that team is going to be Purgatory Bond, the new Arthur, the Excalibur Chosen King Arthur. A lot of people use the 1 just because high single target damage. And then that one's kind of variable. I've seen a few different iterations, but I use the 1. And then Twigo in the back because of his unique, the increased strength attributes, attribute allies HP by 30%. So everything with Purgatory Bond is HP based, so the more HP you can stack on him, the better. And he's able to build up his HP through his passive, and also build up his damage is all based on his max HP. So if that increases, then he's able to do an insane amount of damage. And then with his ultimate 36 right now at level 3, 36% of max health on all enemies. So that's really what's going to wipe people out. So he's able to not use skills, so even if they have a Chandler, he's able to build himself up, and you just rush his ult and blow people up. Eventually you will have to use 1 skill and then to clear up a card for the ult, which will give you that temporary stat decrease, but for that it's negated by the fact that you have Gift, which restores 20% diminished HP and increases max HP by 10%. So yes, your defensive stats go down and your damage dealt goes down, but it's kind of made up for it by the fact that your HP is increasing by that 10%. So it's kind of a wash. Yeah, it's actually like, yeah, he mitigates some of your HP, but he's only taking out 7% of your stats, but you're getting 10. So it's a net gain of 3. And that clears up your ultimate. When you use it again, you still lose. You would use that 7% again. So Chandler helps mitigate some of it, but I've never had any problem blowing up teams with Purgatory Bond. So that's the counter to it. If you don't have that team, I'm going to be looking at more counters, or if you have any suggestions, drop them in the comments below. Hopefully this helped you understand a little bit why you're going to be seeing this team in PvP going forward. Hopefully that example showed a pretty good indication of what that team can do, even in like against other assault mode teams. Like, it's pretty crazy. All of a sudden he made 1 action, got debuffed all across the board, and next turn I had 30% attack on top of everything, which I don't think he was expecting that, to be completely honest. He should not have given me that. But giving me that buff and then buffing my Meliodas even more just led to a massive turnaround in damage. So, alright, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the comment section below. Any suggestions for any other teams you want to see as well. As always, don't forget to check out the Discord and like, comment, and subscribe to help me grow the channel. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you next time.